Hi friends, the poof is back momentarily because I was planning on washing and twisting today and I didn't bother putting this up, wrapping it in the scarf. Because I actually wanted to give you an update. So alongside my January favorites, we are also getting a hair update. And why don't I start with that? And if it's your first time here, hi, I'm Alicia. Welcome to what I would like to call my channel or platform Archer Life at some point, but please come in, get comfortable. I had committed to twisting my hair for a year in trying to heal it from 2023's massacre of hair treatment. I put it up every day, I combed it roughly, breakage abound, it was just awful. And when I visited Rizzo Salon, they had recommended that you figure out a way to protect your hair so it does not undergo the same trauma it did that year. So that meant me having it in a protective style, and I decided to double twist it for an entire year. And I unraveled it today, and year and then some, because I got that cut December of 2023 and I had planned to get another one, but I decided against it because I wanted to find a salon or a stylist who will trim my hair blown out. Because the curly cuts, although reshape the hair, and I think they're great for that purpose, I just wanted to trim off my dead end. And sometimes curly cuts don't achieve that because you're snipping off or just shaping the hair, but you might not snip off a part of your hair if it doesn't do anything to the shape, therefore missing out on a potential opportunity to snip off the split, where a dedicated trim will cut off those split ends. But from what my hair length was a year ago, I think we've made fantastic progress. And yes, the length you see here is largely due to the fact that it's from a twist out. I twist my hair wet, so there is a little shrinkage. It would appear longer if I blew it out first, which I just don't bother doing because I don't have the time, or I choose to not make the time doing that on a weekly basis. Blow drying first and then twisting, no. So I commit to just twisting, but I gotta say, I don't think the shape is that bad. It looks nuts because it was up in a pony poof, but comparing to my hair's condition in 2023, leaps and bounds better. It feels softer, it doesn't feel as rough on the ends, and it looks shiny because I do use jojoba oil to help me unravel my twist so that I can lessen the possibility of over snagging and breaking the end. But that has been my routine for the last year and then some, and I am going to stick to it until again I find a stylist who will trim my ends. Maybe that organically would lead to a better shape, but I'm pleased with the length, and it's one of those things where there's not a special product or technique that will make your hair grow faster. I think your hair will grow. It's just finding a means to not interrupt that process. And I definitely disrupted my growth by the overcombing, the tight updos that I styled every day, and just not taking care of my hair. And of course, especially center crown portion of my hair was shorter than the rest, disproportionately shorter. And I noticed that immediately. And that part of my hair actually, although yes, shorter, is now at, I think, the length it's supposed to be in relation to the rest of my hair. It feels softer overall. It doesn't look or feel as dry. So I see those as us proxies that we're on the right track. And I'm not stressed about my hair growing faster. I think it's growing at the pace that it's meant to grow in. I'm just trying to lay out the carpet for it, if you will, not interrupting the process, ensuring that I am lessening the possibility of breakage or over breaking and snagging, sleeping with my silk bonnet, and basically keeping my hair twisted for the week. It just eliminates worry. It lets me wear my hats. I did a whole thing about how my hat journey exploded in 2024, I think in my best of lifestyle, or I don't think I did a best of wardrobe, it was best of lifestyle, but that was one of the perks when wearing my hair twisted, and something I can't do with my pony poof, although it is nice to visit time to time. And I decided to style it as such for the January Favs video, because today is one of those days where I just have to be efficient, and why not just show friends how the hair is doing. Yes, the sides are not slicked down, my edges are frazzled. Don't care. This is what it looks like, and that's what you're gonna get. But we will kick off with makeup, and I'll have to begin with Light Scatters, the Bad to the Brow collaboration with Cliona Cosmetics. Bad to the Brow, also known as Millie, our multi-chrome queen. She had collaborated with Cliona Cosmetics, known a Canadian indie makeup brand known for their multi-chrome shadows, created the beautiful Light Scatters palette. I have an entire video showcasing the swatches and demo looks. This is a fantastic palette because, as I mentioned in that video, I think despite the nature of the shadows being dazzling, multicolored, all these different types of effects present in this palette, I still think approachable. And I understand why you would be weary of that perspective, especially coming from someone like myself who is comfortable dealing with all sorts of makeup. I think a wide variety since I've been on YouTube for like over 10 years. I understand if you're not used to those types of finishes where it can feel intimidating, but once you start experimenting and completely abolish your own expectations, you will discover that Light Scatters is a dazzling time, just splendor that is waiting for you underneath this palette lid, because you are able to apply these finishes in a color blocking manner that will yield a beautiful look no matter what. It won't look or appear disjointed or odd or awkward because the finishes, or the consistency rather, is quite smooth, and the way they integrate on the lids, there's no harsh lines of demarcation. You can also just rely on the textures themselves to not only apply the shadow on the lid but softly blend the edges through the crease for a diffused finish. Now today, and we'll get to the next part of this list, I did apply the wine metallic shade from Suqq's palette in their spring summer collection alongside the edges of this multi-chrome, specifically from Light Scatters. I thought that would have made a nice pairing. It created a beautiful haze effect on the eyes. And then I followed up with this iridescent shade on the inner corner and a pop of this. Again, you have to look at these shade descriptions because they are just wild. This periwinkle blue something something, okay, on the lower inner part of my lash line, and it offers just a beautiful pop of color while still appearing shiny and still yielding that highlight effect. And why I had to start this list with Light Scatters, although this released in November, because of the Canada Post strike and the delay in shipping, I received this palette, I think it might have been end of December. So although Light Scatters is a November 2024 release, I still consider this to be an eyeshadow palette for 2025. I understand the timeline is off on that, but I had to kick off the video showcasing Light Scatters, and we'll now continue with the Dior Forever Skin something something foundation stick. I have, again, a review video going in deep dive for this foundation stick. So here is the origin story. I know this foundation released last year and a lot of eyes were on it, a lot of high praise for it because of the texture and all these things. I swatched it in store, wasn't impressed with the texture because my skin was dry, and I smelled it, there was fragrance. I was like, oh no. But then I started reading the comments, and because I mentioned this foundation when presenting my personal favorites for 2024, and people were like, Alicia, the Dior stick foundation is good. And I said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna try it. And deciding between 3N and 3.5N, I settled on 3.5N. And if you want to see those comparison swatches, they're on the original video with the timestamp if you just wanted to go straight to that clip. The thing is with this foundation, two things actually. My critique speak about 3.5N, the shade specifically, is although it works, because I do have it on today with the Dior Star Filter in 3N, it's such a flat color on me because it is dead on neutral with a little bit of peach, I would add. It has more of a masking effect on me. Now, I understand that foundation's role is to create an even canvas on your skin, right? You blank out everything and then you add back dimension with contouring, blush, bronzer, whatever you choose to use, highlight, okay? I get that, but foundation has evolved tremendously in that not only does it offer you an even canvas, it also offers dimension in the color itself. And that is demonstrated by Suqqu foundation, which I just gush over all the time and constantly compare to all my other foundations, is because the nuance of color is extraordinary. Not only does it even out my complexion and blur out imperfections, it just has this beautiful, almost a touch of golden hue to it where my skin doesn't appear flat whatsoever. It doesn't appear dull. And I was completely spoiled by that. And now expect all other foundations to follow suit in the same way, and that's just not realistic. So I do zhuzh up the finish of 3.5N, or the color I should say, by mixing it with the Dior Star Filter in 3N. I also mix it with Lisa's tint in 10. I haven't mixed it with Denona Serum Skin in 9 because I think that would be a little too golden of a mixer for 3.5N. I still yet have to try, so I'll keep you updated on that. What I will give it though, the Dior foundation, is its ability to appear fresh after a few hours of wear. And I attest to that by wearing this foundation. I think it was around 5 to 6 hours. I know not extensively long, but long for me because on that day I had to shoot for Stretch It, an app I work for. I applied it around 9 a.m. and took it off around 4 p.m. And before removing my foundation, I noticed that the skin did not look broken up, or the foundation rather. And before removing, I noticed the foundation didn't look like it was breaking up. It maintained its integrity, and I remember that being one point of praise. One of the bigger points of praise for the foundation was how well it wears, and it's stable. It doesn't change the color at all, or maybe I would say it shifted a little bit, but in a favorable direction, right? It didn't appear flatter, but eventually worked with my own complexion to not appear as masky by the end of day. It still appeared smooth. It didn't have that oil breakthrough, and I am drier skin, so that was never a concern for me. But I understand now. I understand why the Dior foundation stick can be goated because of that reason for longevity. So that's why I continue to use it and continue to cocktail with it, even though I have, well, I should get a new Suqqu foundation because I think it's nearing the end of life. But I'll continue using the Dior stick with a little bit of cocktailing, but nevertheless, I'll continue wearing the Dior stick because yes, I know 50 or however much it costs dollars is a lot for you to conjure up the right combination, but I don't mind doing so because that's what I do anyway with my makeup. I love mixing up and cocktailing and dabbling here and there, so that's not an issue for me. So it's a keeper and therefore a favorite. And speaking of Suqqu, their spring summer release dropped early January alongside their new lipstick formula, the Velvet Fit, which I have on. I got 2 shades actually, and my apologies, I have to turn the page to where I wrote down the shades for this collection. This was a highly anticipated drop because last year, or I should say, yes, January 2024, Suqqu dropped their new Moisture Glaze formula that was just and still phenomenal. And now we have Velvet Fit, which is incredible as well. I have to give it to Velvet Fit. This is the lipstick here, and the components are interchangeable, or you have refills. You purchase the component once, and then you can buy as many refills as you like. This is in the shade 102, I believe, a limited shade, specifically the Radiant Gold Glitter. That's like a red plummy base, and on the center I have 01 Baranagomi, the Milky Warm Cinnamon, with a yellow undertone. I love creating this gradient with the velvet fit, but the reason why I gush over this lipstick, and if for the record, I do like Moisture Glaze more, just my preference. The shine, the slip, the feel of that lipstick is unparalleled. But Velvet Fit is a contender for sure, because despite it having a matte finish, it is incredibly smooth, not only on the application, but also it feels smooth on the lip. It's not transfer proof, or I wouldn't attribute the liquid matte lipstick qualities to this Velvet Fit formula. It's more comfortable on the lip. It has a beautiful creamy texture, but lightweight at the same time. Just a few characteristics here shared by Suqqu: the velvety sheen, the diffused matte look. That's that blurring effect that you get from a lightweight matte lipstick, that you have control over the color payoff, right? Not an intense matte lipstick where it's just one swipe and the color's on. There's just no room for adjusting, and I think that's what makes matte finishes intimidating to some, because you gotta commit to the shade because it's there right away. With the Velvet Fit, you have a little bit of wiggle room to adjust that color intensity for it to appear more of like a blotted velvet, or more so a blotted matte finish, or a more color rich matte finish. And that's the beauty behind Velvet Fit, the flexibility behind the formula and the shade range. Oh my goodness. I also have shade 08 Seishuku, the tea red. That shade is sold out on Selfridges. And my apologies for not mentioning it before. This collection, or pieces of the collection, were kindly sent to me by Suqqu Europe, and those were the shades that I requested. And boy, oh boy, I'm glad I requested 08. Tea red, I mean, you can't get... Where is it? Let me get it. Hold on. And this is the beauty behind the Velvet Fit. A shade like this in a dedicated matte formula might be intimidating to some. It's intimidating to me. That's why I don't wear reds often. But I could wear this. I could wear this every day, and it doesn't warrant more makeup. It doesn't call for additional eye makeup, eyeshadow, whatever. You could just throw this on and the face is done, right? It's the Grown and Sexy shade that does it all in one lipstick. And that's exactly what I predicted 08 would be, and that's exactly what it is. The other pieces of the collection I'll quickly share. They also had 2 limited edition blurring blush shades. I requested 107, that is Yume wa Sure, the mauve rose and shell pink, which, ooh, I wear this with the baby doll shade from the YSL Make Me Blush lineup, and it is gorgeous. This is lovely, not only on the apples of my cheeks, but through the hollows. It has that mauve tone to it, but it doesn't look ashy on me, which I adore. And I mentioned when speaking about light scatters how I use the limited edition quad 144 Hana Kaboshi with this duochrome, the metallic wine. It's an incredible palette. If you want to see these products in action, swatches, demos, and more, again, I have that video up. What an incredible drop for spring summer. I haven't purchased any more Velvet Fit shades yet. I'm holding off because I have a feeling that Liberty London might run another sale again, and maybe the Velvet Fits will be included in that sale, but we're not talking months down the road because this collection just dropped, and I doubt that they will, or its pieces would go on sale soon. But the radar is on. Believe me. Isamaya's Wildstar collection, or the Isamaya Beauty Archive, the Secret Archive sale 70% off. One of our friends, Nicole, let me know in my comments that Isamaya was running a sale, and I decided to finally buy a few pieces from the Wildstar collection. Actually, I ended up getting all except the mascara. My initial purchase was the palette, as you just saw, the Dazzle Up highlighter stick, and a Lucky Kiss lipstick with one of the Spur sticks in Buck. That bronzy shade, ooh, and someone said it was giving like Destiny's Child 90s. Yes, that's exactly what the vibe is when I created the look for my short, but also loved the makeup I did for the review video. I'd expressed in that video also that initially why I didn't buy the Wildstar palette is because the packaging is out there and definitely aligns with Isamaya's vision and aesthetic. If you haven't seen the other pieces in her collection, you will find out right away. Despite that, I think this is a solid eyeshadow palette. You got the neutral shades, the matte ones specifically to anchor down the more fun finishes here, a variety where you have more of like a dazzle sparkly finish, a little more subdued. You got the duochromes. It's a fantastic palette, and I think great to travel with because it's quite sturdy and reusable. You could pop out the actual palette and just use the compact to bring your jewelry or put whatever you want in here. So I thought that was quite clever. And the Dazzle Up stick gives more of like a wet effect to the cheekbones. It has more of a slick feel to it, which I like to rely on sometimes, not only on its own for me to achieve a more wet look to the cheekbones, but I think it's a great setup highlighter texture to use underneath something that's drier, where it has a little more zhuzh, if you will, so that cheekbone skin that's usually drier on me has a little more slip to it, and therefore the drier particles that have more of like that dazzle effect. I'm thinking like the Hindash highlighter. Oh my gosh, if you apply Dazzle Up first and plopped on that gradient highlighter from Hindash, it's over. It's over. That's what I love the Dazzle Up for. Again, it has more of the wet effect with a little bit of that gold twinkle because there is gold pearl in the stick, so you could see that maybe more on a lighter skin tone. But if you needed a better setup on your cheekbones for a smoother highlight application, be it from a powder or another stick that's drier than the Dazzle Up one, this is great to start with. And I ended up purchasing 2 other Lucky Kiss shades. I forgot what video that was in. It was in my Favs Syrah video if you want to check that out, where I showed both Buff, I think, and Outlaw. And these lipsticks have a metallic overspray on them that just bring a beautiful shine. They're smooth and the color, I gush. Okay, you could go back and see the demos and how I adore these lipsticks, but I'm happy that I copped this collection during the sale. Even more so for 70% off. Are you kidding me? Many of you had followed up with the same sentiment, saying you can't pass this up. It's just too good. It's too good of an opportunity because the makeup is solid. And look at this freaking thing. Come on, a conversation starter for sure. Did I mention that January was a heavy blush month? Because we'll kick off this blush bonanza with the YSL Make Me Blush Powder singles. I had to get these unquestionably, so had to be in the basket right away. I did learn that there are other shades exclusive to Asia and Europe. I am bummed because I want those more or softer neutral shades for sure. I love the vibrant pops of pink and berry. Yes, they're gorgeous, but I like the softer tones too. Nevertheless, we'll see if I'll ever get an opportunity to buy those colors, but I did end up purchasing Baby Doll and Peachy Nude. Baby Doll was a fun surprise. I knew I was taking a risk in applying a more white-based color on my skin tone, but the cool pink does serve as like a blush light on my complexion, especially if I pair it with, for instance, the Suqqu blurring blush from Spring Summer, or I did get the nude shade in the liquid formula, so pairing these together is a lot of fun. And of course, the nude shade does come in the powder formula, so I gotta get that one now because this is fantastic. I love this shade. I know it's not for me, or it's not, let me rephrase that. It's not an ideal shade for my skin tone. I get that completely. That will be Peachy Nude. Peachy Nude is just outstanding. Not only the color, but the texture for the matte formula in the Make Me Blush line is sensational, smooth, silky, and it does have a blurring effect on the skin. It is just effortless to apply and to blend. Like once you get it on there, the way it maneuvers around the cheeks and just ends up where it needs to and has just a beautiful haze effect depending on how you apply it is outstanding. And I also wanted to mention, because I do have this swatch comparison in my original YSL Make Me Blush video, how Peachy Nude compares to Pat McGrath's Paradise Venus. Paradise Venus is definitely more desaturated. It's a little more muted. So if you're wondering, because someone has said they prefer Paradise Venus because of that reason, if you're bouncing between Paradise Venus and Peachy Nude is a little more orange. There's a little more vibrancy to it, right? They're both beautiful, but if you want something more muted, Paradise Venus definitely has a little more brown in that color that yields that type of a look. And at this point, I think I've already posted my blush video where in addition to the YSL liquid blushes, I also purchased Patrick Ta's Major Dimension something cream powder compact in She's Seductive, and I have a ton of comparison stills and such on that video if you want to see the back-to-backs. But that leads us to a blush that's included in that video as well, the Natasha Denona High Blush Cloudy Cream Cheek Duo. I just bought one. That was it. And what I have on the cheeks today, this formula is outstanding, okay? I purchased this in Fresh Mauve. Even though the name implies mauve, you know, being, I would say, close to this, you can see is a lot more rosy. And I was surprised. I was expecting something a little neutral cool, but you know what? It works out just fine. Perhaps one of Natasha's best cream cheek formulas ever released. And I said this in my original video. I put in like an audio clip describing this. I think it's better than that cream formula in her Face Glam palettes, right? Because those were great shades, but I found that they were maybe, I don't know, something about when I try to compare the applications of both. The High Blush has an insane even application. I mean, virtually foolproof. Natasha nailed it with this formula. Hopefully it does not change over time, which is something that happens to her cream products. They either dry out or they lose their finesse in some way. I guess, you know, it's makeup, right? It's meant to break down once you start using it because now it's exposed to the bacteria and all that, and that contributes to the makeup's demise, if you will. But right now it's doing just fine. And looking here, this has a, whoa, what does that say? Oh, this is so small. I think that says an 18-month suggested shelf life. That's not too bad. I was expecting this to say 12 because it's a cream. So hopefully we could get as much out of the High Blush as we can. What an exceptional formula from Natasha this year. I want to see more shades in the High Blush formula because I said this before, all the 6 shades are like pink base. There's some type of pink to it. I want to see orange, terracotta, a softer lilac, lavender shade, red. You know what I mean? Just to get out of the pink realm for a little bit, because the fact that possibly we could have like a peachy nude moment or even a paradise moment in the, that's what I need. That's what I need. This cream formula in Paradise Venus color or peachy nude and the highlight blush light shade in like a golden champagne or even like a copper something. Stop it right now. Natasha, are you listening? Okay, I need those colors right now. And let's now go into Sonia's mini buffer. What an exciting release, because the sheer buffer was a hit because of the hybrid bristles where you have both a mixture of synthetic and goat hair, I believe Psycho goat hair bristles undyed, and you just again get a beautiful diffused application, be it from foundation, blush. I love to use this with more liquid types of foundation just to get the maneuvering around the skin quickly. And because of the longer bristles, the feel of this brush is just so lightweight. It has an airy feel to it, and that's exactly how your makeup looks after blending. It doesn't have that dense feel, which I love from some of my brushes if I wanted more coverage. But if you're looking just for something that's diffused, that's lightweight, but more precise and a little more of functionality with that purpose, the mini buffer is there for you, especially if you wanted more of a diffused finish of color from your contouring products, the cream contour products, the cream bronzer products, the blushes. stop it right now. With all the blush that I have right now, especially if I were to use this brush with Fresh Mauve, the way, again, I gotta get a mirror because I'm dying. The color placement is perfect. The way the cheeks look, just not overly made up, not textured, is phenomenal. My gosh, has to be one of Sonia's best releases this year, alongside her Voyage set. That is on the way. It's on the way. I know, family. I'll get that video up as soon as I can. It is scheduled to arrive on Monday, and I cannot wait. The story behind this set is just extraordinary, and I implore you to read Sonia's blog post about her Voyage set, how it came to be. The collaboration story is, it's just heartfelt and just embodies Sonia's journey, which is why it's called Voyage. And all the components to this collection, everything from the brushes, the handles, the kanji, the box, everything, the people, hello. That's why this set, it kills me. I cannot wait until I receive it, and I will be happy to make comparisons with Wayne Goss's, his older artist series set. And to answer this question, because I've been asked a few times, I'm not going to buy his newest collection just yet. I'm holding off only because I find that his older sets, specifically his artist releases, are superior to the current ones, just because of the design. Everything about those sets I thought were unique to Wayne. And again, I have to take a look at the current collection. There are a few brushes that I have my eye on, but we shall see. If I have an opportunity to request PR, maybe I can do that just to help with the budget. But if you grabbed any of the new Wayne brushes, let me know down below what you think about them. Before we get into lifestyle, I just wanted to share my nail polish. Can you guess? Can you guess where this is from? I'm sure you can. Mooncat decided to collaborate with Star Wars. Now, technically, the Mooncat and Star Wars collaboration is a 2024 release. It originally dropped on December 13th, but that was when I had just wrapped a vicious shopping spree from my Black Friday sales, and I decided to pump the brakes on the buying for a bit. I was fatigued, my wallet needed recuperation, and it was hard because, not that I don't love Star Wars. I like Star Wars, okay? I appreciate the franchise, I respect the franchise, and I understand how it had or has still an astronomical impact on pop culture, okay? Even if you don't like Star Wars, you know about Star Wars. You know the characters. You might not know the names, but visually, they just have an insane presence, right? So I was excited to see what Michelle was going to do with this collaboration, what her interpretation would be in the form of nail polish. And there was one shade. When I saw that she was going to release a thermal magnetic. Now, I'm not entirely sure if there were thermal magnetics out before this one, okay? I only encountered a nail polish of this kind from Mooncat when I saw the leak on Instagram, or not the leak, the release, right? When she started to trickle them out slowly, right? I was like, what in the world is that? I had to have it. But again, I was like, Alicia, you have to stop buying so much stuff. I was afraid also because it was a limited collection. I knew the box set will sell out, but I was holding on to hope for the individual shades, and to my disappointment, Imperial Stormtrooper did sell out at one point alongside another shade I had my eye on, and I was like, it's okay. I had such a slight panic attack, you guys, because I know it's just, this happens to other stuff too. I know it's just nail polish, it's whatever, and I tried to separate myself from it, but I really wanted that shade. And I was like, she has to restock this. Like, come on, this is an insane type of a nail polish. I have it on this hand, by the way. I think because of the body heat, I couldn't quite decipher which is which. I think the hot is like the light gray silver and the cold is the charcoal, or maybe vice versa, but those are the spectrum of shades with the silver stripe magnetic. Specifically, black to light gray thermal magnetic, I would say is like a dark charcoal, but yeah, black sure, with a silver magnetic stripe or silver magnetic velvet. And the first application of polish is there. Like, this polish is heavy with the color delivery, and it's so fun to see it go from charcoal to light gray or black charcoal to light gray with the silver. Oh my goodness. And on this hand, I think it is Scum and Villainy, the dark brown magnetic filled with bronze colored flakies, sandy beige magnetic stripe. I had to get this one as well, obviously, but before I applied Scum and Villainy, I applied Death Star, the silver magnetic lacquer filled with silver holographic shimmer with a silver magnetic stripe or velvet effect. Whoa. Okay. And then I also, the last one I just bought for Dawn of the Empire, the black magnetic with red magnetic stripe velvet effect. It was hard not to buy all of them, but I tried to settle on shades that I absolutely love, and I had to keep the box because it's so cool, right? You have the Star Wars logo on there with just the different components. I think it's great that they kind of incorporated the Mooncat design, but around the spaceship, you have Darth Vader's head at the top of the box, and when you open it, you have the stormtroopers with Darth Vader in the middle. On the side, you have like the lights of the spaceship. It's phenomenal. And this is Dawn of the Empire, right? My apologies for not having the wand on hand to create that magnetic effect, but boy, oh boy, when Imperial Stormtrooper came back in stock, I just bought it right away. I'm like, sorry, I waited. I bought these polishes on January 19th, okay? I waited almost a month until I recovered from my Black Friday mayhem, until I had a little more funds in the bank to splurge on nail polish. And I am just, thank you, Michelle. Thank you everyone at Mooncat for restocking those shades, because the tab was open. It was always open on Google Chrome, me constantly checking to see if these were back. I had to have Imperial Stormtrooper. Can't wait to see what Mooncat releases this year, and I will eventually paint on Dawn of the Empire. I'm sorry I don't have that footage with me for this video, but hopefully Death Star and Imperial Stormtrooper just wowed you like they did for me. Now, getting into lifestyle, finally, Spend Your Yen was an anime merchandise brand I encountered on Instagram. Okay. When I saw these shirts, I was like, whoa, these designs are just dazzling. They have a raw, edgy feel to them. The illustrations just pop out. They just launch at you, and they definitely showcase these characters, whether midst of a battle or pivotal point of the story, maybe showcasing their powers to like the highest extent, right? So when I saw them first, they were quite expensive, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, I know Black Friday is coming. And you're like, Black Friday? This was in November and it's January. Yes, hold on. When you express interest in possibly buying from this brand, they let you know right away that it takes 4 to 6 weeks to process and ship. I was like, fine. So they ran a Black Friday sale, and I bought 4 shirts and 2 hoodies. I went crazy because I had my eye on them, and I was waiting for the opportunity to save a little bit of money. So that means we got to go through this footage, because I'm happy. It was worth the wait. It was worth the wait for me, because look at this Zorro shirt. And I did order a size large, just for reference. I am 135 pounds and 5'5" in height. I like how the shirt sits under my butt. It's quite long, but it's not super baggy. The sleeves do hit above my elbow. I wish the sleeves were a little longer, like they are on my Dyson Studios shirt, where they kind of sit right at elbow height. I think it gives more of a streetwear feel to it, but nevertheless, I think the length is great. But this design specifically, I have my notes here. This is the Swordsman Creed heavyweight, just kind of showcasing Zorro and his, excuse my language if you're watching with kids, badassery, right? Just up front, in your face. And the colors are vibrant. They definitely they feel like Zorro, right? Like, I feel charged up when I wear this shirt. And of course, I had to get Gojo because this captures his, specifically, the unrestrained havoc. This is what they call it on the website. Unrestrained havoc, which is his limitless and six eyes technique, that powerful, like, unyielding state of Gojo. If you watch Jujutsu Kaisen, you know what I'm talking about. It's like when he gets to that point, he's like crazed, okay, like the chosen one crazed. And next is another Zoro shirt, which, okay, if you shop on their site, spend your yen, beware, because I love, well, not all of them because I haven't seen all of them, but the way they illustrate these characters, they're just so dynamic, right? It's kind of like you feel the character on your back. This one specifically is the King of Hell. This is one of Zoro's moves. His strongest form takes on all three swords, channels both the Conqueror's and Armament Haki. And if you watch One Piece, he displays King of Hell in episode 1000. You heard that correctly. 62 in the three-sword style of the Supreme King, Zoro versus King. That is this shirt. That is the shirt. And why I had to buy it. Because I knew immediately when I saw it, that was from that episode, okay? And finally, we have Rengoku, which during his battle with Akaza. And what an important part of the battle. Because you see how he's all banged up, but what this represents and what people often repeat is to set your heart ablaze. And what that means is to go beyond your limits, go ahead and live with your head held high, no matter how devastated you may be by your own weakness or uselessness. Set your heart ablaze. And set your heart ablaze, translated from Japanese, is kokoro ni o sukete, which again holds that meaning that I just read. And when you watch Demon Slayer and you watch this episode specifically, when he's fighting Akaza, when he tells this to Tanjiro's Zenitsu and Inosuke, it just, my gosh, this is why when people say anime is just no, anime is just not cartoons. I know it's animated. It's not real, nor are the fake stories that real people act in. These stories hold some just heavy lessons. My gosh, set your heart ablaze. Go beyond the limits. There is always more for us beyond that line. And it's scary, and I know, but whew. So that's what I think about when I wear this shirt, when I wear Rengoku. And again, if you are a fan, you know what I'm talking about. And let's move on, because this is getting into another type of video. My Sanji hoodie, I originally wanted this in the heavyweight black material, but they only had the mineral wash available with this print, the Diable, specifically his black leg style, the Diable Jambe. Diable is devil in French, and it refers to his cooking style because he is a chef where he just wants to make it hot, but that's his fighting style too. It's so hot, he spins around so quickly that his leg goes on fire, and then he takes on that stance, which is inspired by actual Muay Thai, and that's what's captured here on the back of the hoodie. And the material is a lot more slouchy and a lot more softer feel, I think, because of the mineral wash treatment on the material, which I don't mind. And the hoodies I purchased, this one is a size medium, and it does sit below my tush a little bit, which I like. I like where it falls, and the sleeves are not super long where it lands around this part of my hand, and the material is super soft. It's not going to have as much structure as the heavyweight, which I'll show in a minute, but ooh, again, I think it's cool. The mineral wash effect with Sanji on the back. And lastly, we have flashy showdown heavyweight hoodie in size medium, showcasing Tengen when he was fighting Yutaro in the Entertainment District arc, also from Demon Slayer. The heavyweight material definitely has a little more heft to it, and is a lot more, or not a lot more, it's a little more stiff than the mineral wash. I think because it hasn't been treated, so it's going to sit up a little more than the Sanji hoodie does. And despite they both being a medium. The Tengen sweatshirt is a little lower, it's a little longer, so it completely covers my tush, which I'm not mad at. I actually love that about the size, and it feels good. It's cozy, it's big, but it doesn't feel like I'm drowning in the hoodie. And I just love the illustration of Tengen here. Like, this is right in the middle of battle when it is at its peak, and he is just giving his all to win this fight. And if you've seen that episode, I actually did an anime Get Ready With Me describing this episode. I mean, no one really, people watched it, but it didn't do well on my channel. But if you want to check it out, I'll make sure to link it down below. This is incredible. And Spend Your Yen, unfortunately, because they make everything to order, and that's why they close their online shop intermittently throughout the year, they do send out alerts, be it through text or email. So I would sign up for those alerts in order for you to know when their online shop opens next. Sometimes they'll do like flash openings where they only open their shop for 24 hours, limited releases and all that stuff. But beware, because a lot of their designs are sick. They are just savagely sick. And if you're an anime fan and you like that shonen type and you love seeing your favorite characters showcase their abilities to the peak utmost, like S tier on a shirt or a hoodie or shorts, they got shorts too. I know they're gonna kill me. And I'm sure maybe you kind of peaked my Crocs during the Spend Your Yen footage. So here's the story behind these, what they call the classic sandals. I purchased these when I bought Crocs for the first time because I had these Mimo Puff Croc gibbets. That Mimo Puffs doesn't call gibbets because that's a trademark name under the Crocs brand, but you have the different gibbets in anime faces, and I bought all like Demon Slayer ones and I didn't have any Crocs to put them on, so I decided to finally bite the Crocs bullet, and that's it. Crocs wear for life. But alongside the classic clog, I also purchased what Crocs calls their classic sandal, and originally I saw potential for it. I just didn't envision it with a specific outfit at the time. I said, okay, let me buy these because I think they were on sale because they were like hot pink, as you saw. And I put a few of my Mimo Puff Croc, what they call charms, they call them Croc charms, on the sandals, and they sat under my bed for months, maybe more than that, maybe like a year and a half, because I couldn't quite carve out a role, like a defining role for them in my wardrobe. I mainly just wore my Crocs. I wore my Demon Slayer collab Crocs, the Naruto collab Crocs. I just wore those all the time. But it was until I made a hefty Black Friday purchase from Bombas, a sock company, and I have wooden bamboo floors. New socks and bamboo wood don't mix. It's like walking on ice, right? Because there's no traction on the material yet. The socks are brand new. It felt like walking around my apartment was treacherous, right? So I needed an in-house sandal, right? An in-house slide to wear, so I wasn't gonna fall on my tush. And I saw my Crocs. I'm like, wait a minute, I could wear these. And boy, oh boy, did I find now a role for these Croc sandals, for these hot pink Croc sandals. They are now the new designated house slipper. Because they're rubber, they offer phenomenal traction on my wooden floor. And I'm one to rarely wear a dedicated slipper. I feel like my feet get too hot and I rather wear socks. I rather wear socks to begin with, but I know it can be a little dangerous. And to prevent my socks from getting dirty, because not that my floor is dirty, but dust and everything, it could really wreck them up. So wearing these sandals made of rubber just made it easy to walk around without slipping and sliding. And even during winter, I rather wear a thicker sock with a slide versus wearing socks with a slipper or wearing slippers by themselves, because slippers and feet, they could get sweaty and smelly, in my opinion. I know that doesn't happen all the time, and you could put in like the dryer bags or whatever to soak up excess moisture and all that. I rather just wear my Croc slides, and they have been my go-to in-house slipper for months now. And even though my new Bomba socks have been washed and all that, I still wear my Crocs sandals because they feel comfortable. They offer nice support. They're not completely squishy, but they have nice nice of a cushion feel, if you will. And they're great to wear in house because they're hot pink, like who cares, right? So I had to share and that be a part of my January faves. And we will now end randomly with the scarf. You're like, really? My Burberry scarf that, let me start with this. I used to be into luxury brands, right? I'm happy that I left that train, that I no longer rely on luxury brands to represent my worth as a person, because that's what I was definitely doing at the time. But I did purchase this Burberry scarf years ago, and when purging my closet and reselling a lot of my luxury items, I decided to keep this. And I'm happy that I did. It is 100% cashmere. It was made in Scotland. It showcases the quintessential or iconic Burberry plaid. I think because there are different tiers in the Burberry brand, maybe it's just the Burberry London plaid, I don't know. It's quite wide and long. But what I love about this is, yes, it's kind of like in your face Burberry. So if you see it and you're well versed in luxury, you immediately recognize it for that. But what I love about it and what I discovered about its usefulness is I got sick beginning of the year. What great timing. And when I get a flu or flu type of a virus and I get the fever, the aches, the chills, I still walk around and do as much physical activity as I can once the fever subsides and my body doesn't feel as achy. But my cold tolerance has not yet stabilized. I get cold right away, and I feel like I need an extra layer when I haven't completely recuperated. And that means wrapping up a scarf around my neck in this way. And this is what the Burberry scarf does. It just has this cozy, nesty quality about it, and I wrap it around my North Face, which is a high neck, but the North Face alone wasn't enough when I was still recovering, and I still wanted to go out. And I'm talking about, you know, the weather app says 20, but a real feel of 60. Okay, and this definitely helped me stay warm around my neck area, and a testament to the material. I know with luxury brands and whatnot, and I can't tell you where Burberry was at the time when I purchased this, right? If they outsource a lot of their labor to cheaper manufacturers, even though it was like designed in London but like made in Vietnam, I'm not entirely sure, right? This was made in Scotland, so I feel like that adds a little bit of credibility to the quality. You could let me know down below. But this scarf is warm. It's soft. It definitely helped me get through being sick, but still managing to get my steps in and to help combat the cold weather we had this month. And I'm happy that I kept this piece. Again, I don't see luxury items as a means to show off or to say, look at me, I have this Burberry scarf. That was my intention before, 100%. When I bought this scarf, I had that in mind. So I will completely admit to that. But now I'm using this for its practicality. A high performing scarf that happens to be a Burberry one, that's now where it sits. And it's one of those pieces in my collection, in my wardrobe specifically, that I'm happy that I still have, that I didn't give away or resell. Because although it is blatantly Burberry, it's still pretty. Like, I love this plaid pattern with the black, beige, and the red and the white. I think it's beautiful. But this is what I've been using all of January and will continue to do so throughout the season because it's a godsend of a scarf. And that is it, family. Those are my January faves. What a chunky video. We got through a lot. Hopefully it was helpful to you in some way, and I'll make sure to create a January faves playlist. So if you wanted to reference any of the videos I mentioned in this one, if you want to take a look at the swatches, demos, or what have you from the makeup products, from Sonia's mini buffer, prefer. I'll make sure to add Sonia's Voyage set to that playlist as well when I film the video and edit it and upload it, of course. But I would love to know what your January favorites were and still ongoing. Maybe they were ongoing from December, who knows? And if you made it this far, make sure you like this video. Consider subscribing because always more to come. More hair updates, you never know. So that's why you must click that notification bell so you are alerted immediately of when that upload drops. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you down in those comments and I will see you on here again next time.